I'll help you create an engaging video narration script based on the spiritual content you provided. This will be a complete, ready-to-use voiceover script with natural flow and compelling hooks. A soul journey video narration script. Right now, as you're watching this, there's something happening that will blow your mind. Your soul already knows exactly who you're going to meet next, where you're going to live, and what challenges will shape you into who you're meant to become. But here's the kicker. You chose all of this before you were even born. I know that sounds impossible, maybe even crazy, but stick with me for the next few minutes and I'll show you evidence that will completely flip your understanding of life, death, and everything in between. And if you're ready to have your mind open to possibilities you never imagined, hit that like button right now, and let's dive deep into the most profound mystery of human existence. What if I told you that death isn't the end of your story, it's just the intermission? Think about this for a second. Every night when you fall asleep, your consciousness leaves your body and enters a different realm. You dream, you experience things that feel completely real, and then you wake up. Death is basically the same thing, except you don't wake up in the same body. Here's what actually happens when someone dies, and this will change everything you think you know about existence. The moment consciousness leaves the physical body, it doesn't just disappear into nothingness. Instead, it enters what we can call a cosmic waiting room, a space between worlds where time doesn't exist the way we understand it. In this space, something incredible happens. All the fear, all the anxiety, all those material attachments that seemed so important just fade away. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not every soul experiences this transition the same way. Some souls wake up immediately, crystal clear about where they are and what's happening. Others remain confused, trapped in old patterns and emotions they carried from their physical life. Think about it like this. Imagine waking up from the most vivid dream you've ever had, but you can't quite shake the feeling that the dream was more real than reality itself. That's what many souls experience when they first cross over. They're not lost, they're just adjusting to a completely different operating system. And this is where the real work begins. Every soul that crosses over goes through what's called a life review. Now, this isn't some cosmic courtroom where you're judged and sentenced. It's more like watching the ultimate director's cut of your life, except you don't just see what happened. You feel every single impact your actions had on others. Picture this. You're sitting in a cosmic movie theater, and the film playing is your entire life. But here's the twist. You experience every moment from multiple perspectives. You feel the joy you brought to your best friend when you called them during their darkest hour. You also feel the pain you caused when you said something cruel out of anger. Every thought, every word, every choice you made creates ripples that you get to experience firsthand. This isn't punishment, it's education. It's your soul's way of understanding the full scope of its impact on the world. And here's what's absolutely mind-blowing. This review helps your soul plan its next adventure on Earth. Now, here's where things get really wild. Your soul doesn't just randomly get assigned to a new life. It gets to choose. Think of it like the ultimate life simulation game, except the stakes are real, and the experience shapes your consciousness for eternity. Your soul sits down with its spiritual advisors, these incredibly wise beings who have been guiding you through multiple lifetimes, and they start planning. They look at what you learned in your previous life, what you still need to work on, and what experiences would help you grow the most. Let me give you an example that'll make this crystal clear. Say in your last life, you were incredibly intelligent but struggled with empathy. Your soul might choose a life where intelligence comes harder, but emotional connections are essential for survival. Or maybe you were wealthy but selfish, so you might choose a life of financial struggle to learn gratitude and compassion. But here's the part that'll really mess with your head. Your soul often chooses the hardest possible path because that's where the most growth happens. The challenges that feel like punishments, they're actually gifts your soul gave itself. And this brings us to one of the most mind-bending revelations. You chose your parents. Yes, you heard that right. Before you were born, your soul looked at thousands of potential families and said, "Those are the people who will give me exactly what I need to grow." Now I know what you're thinking. But my family is crazy. My parents were difficult. How could I have chosen that? Here's the thing, your soul wasn't looking for comfort. It was looking for evolution. Sometimes the most challenging families provide the exact lessons a soul needs to learn. Think about a bodybuilder. They don't choose the lightest weights because those would be comfortable. They choose the heaviest weights they can handle because that's what makes them stronger. Your soul operates the same way. Maybe you needed to learn independence, so you chose parents who couldn't be there for you emotionally. Maybe you needed to learn forgiveness, so you chose a family situation that would test that capacity. Maybe you needed to break generational patterns, so you chose to be born into a family where those patterns were strongest. This doesn't mean you should accept abuse or toxic behavior. It means you can understand that even difficult situations serve a purpose in your soul's evolution. And once you learn the lesson, you're free to create healthy boundaries and move forward. But it goes deeper than just choosing your family. Your soul also chose the exact time and place you'd be born. You didn't just randomly end up in this country, in this culture, at this point in history. Every single detail was carefully selected. If you were born in a time of war, your soul might have come to learn about peace. If you were born into poverty, you might be here to learn about resourcefulness and gratitude. If you were born into privilege, you might be here to learn about responsibility and service. The generation you're part of also has a collective mission. Every generation comes with specific gifts and challenges designed to heal old wounds and create new possibilities. You're not just here for your personal growth. You're part of a massive collaborative project to evolve human consciousness. And here's something that'll completely shift your perspective. The location where you were born is like a spiritual classroom. If you were born in a chaotic city, maybe your soul came to learn how to find peace in the storm. If you were born in a small town, maybe you came to learn about community and simplicity. Even the era you chose matters. Your soul picked this exact moment in history because the challenges and opportunities available right now are precisely what you need for your growth. You're not here by accident, you're here by design. Now, let's talk about something that'll make your heart skip a beat: soulmates. But forget everything you think you know about soulmates, because the truth is way more complex and beautiful than Hollywood has led you to believe. Before you incarnated, your soul made agreements with other souls. These are like spiritual contracts where you promise to help each other grow. Some of these souls agreed to be your greatest loves. Others agreed to be your greatest challenges. And sometimes, the same soul plays both roles. Here's how you recognize a soul you've made an agreement with. There's an instant familiarity. It's like recognition on a cellular level. You meet them and think, "I know you from somewhere," even though you've never seen them before. Time seems to stop or speed up when you're around them. Conversations flow like you're picking up where you left off in another lifetime. But here's the plot twist that no one talks about. Soulmate connections aren't always romantic, and they're definitely not always easy. Some of your strongest soul connections might be with people who challenge you, frustrate you, or push you to your limits. That difficult boss, that complicated family member, that friend who always seems to bring drama, they might all be souls you contracted with to help you grow. The romantic soulmate myth has people thinking that when they meet the one, everything will be perfect and effortless. But real soul connections are intense because they're designed to accelerate your growth. They bring up everything that needs to be healed, everything that needs to be released, and everything that needs to be integrated. Think of it this way. If you were learning to be a master chef, you wouldn't want to practice on easy recipes forever. You'd want someone to challenge you, push you to try new techniques, and call you out when your seasoning is off. Soul connections work the same way. They're your spiritual training partners. And then there are your spiritual guides. Right now, as you're watching this, there are beings of pure love and wisdom surrounding you. They've been with you since before you were born, and they'll be with you long after you leave this planet. These guides aren't some mystical fairy tale. They're real consciousnesses who have committed to helping you navigate your earthly experience. They communicate through intuition, through signs, through those gut feelings you get that you can't quite explain. Ever had a sudden impulse to take a different route home, only to find out later that your usual route had a massive accident? That was your guides. Ever had a song pop into your head with lyrics that perfectly answered a question you'd been struggling with? That was your guides. Ever met someone at the exact moment you needed to meet them? You guessed it, your guides orchestrated that meeting. The problem is, most people are too busy, too distracted, or too skeptical to notice these communications. But once you start paying attention, you'll be amazed at how much guidance you're actually receiving. Your guides respect your free will completely. They'll never force you to make a choice, but they'll absolutely help you see all your options. They're like the best GPS system ever created. They know all the routes, they can see the traffic ahead, and they'll guide you to your destination. But you still have to decide whether to follow their directions. Now, let's bust some myths about karma, because most people have this completely backwards. Karma isn't some cosmic punishment system where the universe keeps score of your good and bad deeds. It's simply the law of cause and effect playing out across multiple lifetimes. Every action creates energy, and that energy has to go somewhere. If you put out love, love comes back to you. If you put out fear or anger, that comes back too. But here's the key. It doesn't always come back in the same lifetime, and it doesn't always come back in the way you expect. Sometimes what looks like bad karma is actually your soul setting up a learning experience. Maybe you're experiencing financial struggles not because you were greedy in a past life, but because your soul wants to learn about resourcefulness, gratitude, and what really matters in life. And here's the most empowering truth about karma. You can change it. Every moment, with every choice, you're creating new karma. You're not trapped by your past, you're empowered by your present. This brings us to something that might be hard to accept. Some souls choose extremely difficult lives on purpose. When you see someone dealing with severe illness, extreme poverty, or unimaginable loss, your first thought might be, "That's so unfair." But what if I told you that some of the most challenged souls are actually the most advanced? Think about it like this. If you were a spiritual Navy SEAL, you wouldn't choose basic training. You'd choose the most intense, challenging program available because that's where you'd grow the fastest. Some souls choose difficult lives because they want to accelerate their evolution. This doesn't mean suffering is good or that we shouldn't work to eliminate it. It means we can honor the strength and courage it takes for a soul to choose a challenging path. Every person you meet who's facing difficulties is showing incredible spiritual bravery. And if you're going through challenges right now, consider this. Your soul chose you for this mission because it knew you were strong enough to handle it. Your struggles aren't evidence that you're being punished. They're evidence that you're capable of extraordinary growth. So how do you figure out what your soul's purpose is in this lifetime? How do you connect with that pre-birth plan you made? First, pay attention to your passions. What makes you lose track of time? What activities make you feel most alive? These aren't random interests, they're clues about your soul's mission. Second, look at your challenges. What keeps showing up in your life that you need to heal or overcome? These recurring themes are often pointing you toward your greatest opportunities for growth. Third, notice what breaks your heart about the world. What injustices or problems make you feel compelled to take action? Your soul might have chosen to incarnate specifically to address these issues. Fourth, examine your natural talents. What comes easily to you that others struggle with? These gifts weren't given to you randomly. They're tools your soul chose to help fulfill its mission. And finally, trust your intuition. That inner knowing, that quiet voice that speaks when your mind gets still, that's your soul trying to remind you of what you came here to do. Here's something that'll completely shift how you see your life. Everything that's happened to you, every person you've met, every challenge you've faced, every joy you've experienced, it was all part of the plan. Not because everything was predetermined, but because your soul is incredibly skilled at turning any experience into growth. Even your mistakes, your failures, your wrong turns, they're all raw material for your evolution. Your soul doesn't judge these experiences as good or bad. It sees them all as valuable data for its expansion. This means you're never actually off track. You might take the scenic route, you might hit some detours, but you're always moving toward your highest growth. Every step, even the ones that feel like steps backwards, is moving you forward in your soul's journey. So if you're feeling lost right now, if you're wondering whether you're living the life you're supposed to be living, here's what I want you to know. You are exactly where you need to be. Your soul orchestrated your entire life story to bring you to this exact moment of awareness. The fact that you're watching this, the fact that these ideas are resonating with you, the fact that you're starting to see your life from this expanded perspective, that's not a coincidence. That's your soul saying, it's time to remember who you really are and why you came here. And here's the most beautiful part. Once you understand that you're an eternal soul on a temporary human journey, everything changes. Death loses its sting because you know it's just a transition. Challenges become opportunities because you understand they're designed for your growth. Relationships become more meaningful because you recognize the sacred contracts you've made with other souls. Your life becomes an adventure instead of a burden. You become a conscious co-creator instead of a victim of circumstances. You start living with purpose instead of just surviving. But understanding all this intellectually isn't enough. You need to start applying these insights to create real change in your life. You need to start aligning your daily choices with your soul's deeper purpose. This is why you're here right now. This is why your soul chose to incarnate at this exact moment in history. Because this is the time when humanity is ready to remember these truths and start living from a place of deeper wisdom. Your soul has been waiting your entire life for you to remember this conversation you had before you were born. It's been sending you signs, bringing you teachers, creating opportunities for awakening. And now, finally, you're ready to listen. So what are you going to do with this knowledge? How are you going to honor the courage your soul showed in choosing this life? How are you going to step into the fullness of who you really are? Because here's the thing. Your soul didn't come here to play small. It didn't choose this challenging, beautiful, messy human experience so you could live in fear and limitation. It came here to expand, to love, to create, to grow, and to help others do the same. You have a team of guides cheering you on. You have soul companions waiting to recognize you. You have a purpose that only you can fulfill. And you have unlimited opportunities to create positive karma and contribute to the healing of this world. The only question left is, are you ready to step into the magnificent life your soul planned for you? Are you ready to stop playing the victim and start playing the hero of your own spiritual journey? Because if you are, then everything changes starting right now. Your soul has been waiting for this moment your entire life. And now, finally, you're awake enough to hear its calling. The journey of remembering who you really are and why you came here starts with a single step. And that step is trusting that everything in your life has meaning, everything serves a purpose, and everything is guiding you toward your highest evolution. Your soul knows the way. It's been guiding you all along. Now it's time to trust it completely and step boldly into the extraordinary life you came here to live. I've created a comprehensive video narration script that transforms the original spiritual content into an engaging, conversational format perfect for video. The script maintains all the key concepts about soul selection, reincarnation, and spiritual purpose, while using natural, compelling language that will keep viewers engaged throughout. The script includes strong opening hooks with attention-grabbing statements, direct you addressed to create connection, microhooks throughout to maintain engagement, natural conversational flow while preserving depth, calls to action integrated seamlessly, empowering conclusions that inspire action. The rewritten content covers all major topics from the original Choosing Parents, soulmates, karma, life purpose, spiritual guides, but presents them in a way that feels like an intimate, authoritative conversation rather than a formal lecture. This approach should work excellently for video narration, while honoring the profound spiritual insights of the source material.